Today we're taking a close look at what is honestly the hardest working, most multitasking hero of the entire English dictionary. I'm talking about the verb do. It is literally everywhere. I mean, it builds our questions, it frames our negatives, and it describes our daily chores. But despite being one of the most common words we use, it is notoriously tricky to actually master.
I mean, have you ever caught yourself pausing mid-sentence and thinking, wait, do I make homework or do homework? It's one of those confidence-killing questions that trips up almost everyone at some point. It just goes to show how frustrating English grammar can be when the rules seem to blur together. Well, don't worry, because we are going to dive right into this and clear it all up.
All right, let's jump straight into part one, the two jobs of do. Think of this word as having a bit of a split personality. If you look at this comparison, you'll see exactly what I mean. Over on the left, we've got the sentence, do you like tennis? Here, do is playing the role of a helper verb. It doesn't actually mean anything by itself. It's just grammatically necessary to ask the question. But then look over on the right. What are you doing? In this context, doing is a concrete action. It's the main event of the sentence.
So first, let's focus on that grammatical helper role, which is what we call an auxiliary verb. English uses do, does, and the past tense did as a kind of grammatical glue. You absolutely need it to form questions, like, did they like the film? You need it for natural, snappy short answers, like, yes, I do, or so did I. And of course, you need it to build negatives, like, he doesn't play well, or Leo didn't see it. In all of these examples, the word do carries zero physical action. It's totally invisible in meaning, but structurally absolutely essential for the sentence to even exist.
Moving right along to part two, chores, jobs, and actions. Let's see what happens when do steps out of the background.
Take a look at what's going on here. What are the people in this scene actually doing? Well, the guy inside looking through the window is doing the washing up. The man outside on the right is doing the gardening. The women are playing tennis, and that boy on the left is just hanging out eating an ice cream. Whenever we talk about performing general activities, especially everyday tasks, do is the verb we naturally reach for.
Now this is where it gets really practical. We can logically group these rapid-fire expressions to make them way easier to memorize. We use do heavily in two main areas, housework and work or study. You do the housework, do the washing, or do the washing up. And then over on the professional and academic side, you do your homework, do some exercises, or do business with someone. Do you see the pattern? It's all about performing a routine task or fulfilling a duty.
And speaking of fulfilling a duty, I absolutely love this direct quote from our text. The homework is very difficult, just do your best. Seriously, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed by all this English vocabulary, keep this one in your back pocket. Do your best is such a supportive and common expression. Notice that you aren't physically creating a best. You're simply performing the action of trying as hard as you can.
Okay, get ready for part three, the showdown. We are pitting do against its notorious arch rival in the English language, the verb make.
The fundamental difference between the two is laid out right here. On one side, we have do the washing. This is a routine chore, right? It's an existing activity that you just perform and get through. But on the other side, make a mess. Here, you're creating a brand new outcome that literally didn't exist before. So you perform a routine chore with do, but you produce or construct a totally new result with make.
Let's look at another deliberate contrast, just to really cement that mental boundary. Do an exam versus make a choice. Think about it. You don't create the exam. Your teacher did that part. It's a process you endure or an action you complete, so you do it. But a choice doesn't exist until you actively create it in your own mind. Therefore, you make a choice.
Because make is all about producing or creating something new. It demands its own specific set of expressions. You make a mistake in an exercise because you literally produced that error. You make an appointment because you're setting up a new event on your calendar. When you wake up, you make your bed to create a tidy state out of a bunch of tangled blankets. If you're loud, you produce sound, so you make a noise. And when you cook, you make dinner or make a cup of tea. In all of these, you are producing something tangible. Which brings us to part four, common mistakes to avoid. Let's look at a definitive cheat sheet for this. This right here is your master checklist. If you take away anything today, let it be this. Remember that very first question we asked? You do homework, you never make homework because it's a required task, not a brand new creation. You take or do an exam, you don't make it. And interestingly enough, you take a photo, you never make a photo. Finally, you do the washing, you don't make the washing. These are the classic traps people fall into, and now you know exactly how to step right over them.
Let's tie all these rules back to real life with a quick scenario. Think about a medical consultation. The doctor's sitting at her desk, does her job, right? She performs her daily professional activities. But the patient sitting across from her, they made an appointment to be there. They created that event on the schedule so the doctor could do her work. See how perfectly those two verbs work together when you actually know the rules?
So, we've untangled that invisible grammatical helper, we've mastered the action words for our daily chores, and I think we finally settled the score between do and make. You've got the tools, the structure, and the vocabulary you need now. So I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Now that you know the rules, what are you going to do with your English today? Go out there, do your best, make some great choices, and keep on learning.